Next, let's talk about new services. Some examples of new services which you can already find out there on the field, but maybe you never heard about them because they are still not so widespread. First of them, let's talk about the vehicular communication, the CV2X. C stands for cellular, V2X stands for vehicular communication to everything. This enables then the message exchange among vehicles, as well message exchanges between the vehicles and the network. So one very important use case is to make firmware updates for cars. Cars are more and more actually computing platforms that can receive firmware updates and receive new functionality. And the best way to deliver that is actually typically via the cellular network because cars can be parked outside. You would not like to only be able to do that, for example, need to configure your Wi-Fi so that you can update your car. Another possibility is the communication with the infrastructure. So, for example, if you have a radar or if you have information about traffic conditions or anything else that your car should present, there is also the definition of messages so that your car can communicate with infrastructure which is present there on the road. And another interesting use case is remote driving, the teledriving. Um, in many situations, it's not desirable that you have a car like completely driving alone because there would not be a human on the loop making decisions, but it should be possible actually that the driver is seated somewhere else. So if you're talking about the taxi, you would have then one more seat for the passengers. If you're talking about cargo, then for example, would be easier for a truck driver to actually have pauses and basically instead of traveling could actually work from the office driving the truck. And for remote driving, then of course you need to have connectivity all the time between this place where you're actually driving the car and the car itself. So it's quite demanding for the network, and you need to make sure that you have good connectivity, that you have proper QoS throughout the path that you are doing the remote driving. Another example of new service, which is getting more and more out there, is the Internet of Things. And by Internet of Things, it's basically the connectivity of anything. So, like anything which is electronic can start to have connectivity. And this may be done via cellular network, but may be done also via other networks. And with the Internet of Things, we're seeing a surge on the number of connected devices. And one very important aspect is that the device battery must last several years. This is a quite fragmented market. So actually the technologies which support the Internet of Things over cellular networks, they are mostly worked on top of 4G. There are LTE-M and BOT. But there is even more technologies like Wi-Fi based and LoRaWAN that are on the market for IoT. Well, it's very important part actually to be able to deliver IoT connectivity with the cellular network infrastructure. And since the release 17, we have the 5G NR RedCap, which can cover some use cases which are related to the Internet of Things, but they're a bit more demanding, like for example, security cameras. And another interesting one is virtual reality and augmented reality. So like we can see every day new devices which are able to expand what we see around us with that's augmented reality, or actually to create a new reality that's a virtual reality. Those two together, they are known as extended reality. And of course, many of those use cases are also covered, for example, by Wi-Fi. But yeah, if you're talking about use cases on the go, then this could be also covered by cellular network. And XR, so VR and AR, already existed prior to 5G, but the larger data rates and the enhanced QoS actually enables to make a better service. And even with the evolution of 5G and 5G Advanced, there are very specific enhancements which are tailored to improve the quality of XR. Oh, well, one example is, for example, medical training. So, like if you put VR glasses, you could make medical training on a reality on a patient which does not exist. That's maybe a better way or more cost-efficient way to make it something which looks real and which new doctors, new medical doctors can be trained on.